Welcome back to Growth Catalyst Hub. In our channel, we look at three things: productivity, your skills, and how to turbocharge your career. In today's episode, we are going to look at how do you negotiate your salary. You might have felt that you left money on the table many times. I have felt like that many times in my career. But how do you avoid that? What are the key questions that you need to ask when you are negotiating your salary? But even before that, what are the things that you should be prepared for so that you can ask those right questions? Whether you are living in Bangalore or Mumbai or London or New York, doesn't really matter. The 18-step framework that I'm going to share now is going to be very good equally for anywhere that you are living in this world. Because these are absolutely important steps which the best of the salary negotiators have used in their career to go and skyrocket the money and the compensation that they get out of what they do for their company. So here we go. Let's look at this 18-step ultimate framework for salary negotiations. Step number one. The part one is all about preparation and knowing exactly what you're worth, knowing exactly what the kind of levels, kind of position that you're applying to or pay, not only in India, but abroad and anywhere else in the world. There are enough number of groups, enough number of sites, enough number of websites which are helping people to understand what they're worth. Basically, benchmarking whatever level that you are applying for, the kind of technical expertise, the kind of expertise that you might be bringing to the table for that position, for that role, for that level. What is that position paying in a given company? That's what they benchmark on so that you know what you are likely to be paid and what your peers are getting in other companies or in a given company. So that research is absolutely essential. You cannot skip that step because that is going to be foundational for knowing what you are worth. It could be Glassdoor, it could be levels.fyi if you're looking at a global company, or it could be Ambition Box, it could be the multiple groups which are there for HR and other people having on WhatsApp. It could be any of that, but it is important to get enough and the right kind of information to see what level that you are applying for and what is that level typically paying in a given company, especially in the company that you are applying for. When you do that research, when you look at number of years of experience, the kind of expertise that you are bringing in, technical or otherwise, and hence the given role, given title is getting paid in India and abroad, you are ready with the very first step, foundational step of understanding what you are worth and what you can expect as a salary. And the salary that I'm talking about is not just the money on the table, but the complete package that the company might be offering. So that's the very first step. Step two in this foundational understanding and salary negotiations is looking at the range that you might be getting. Suppose you are applying for a role, and the role, the range is let's say 40 to 50 lakhs. And typically all of these are range estimates that you get from any of these sites or by talking to any of the people. Then the next step, once you understood the range from the first step, is to look at where you want to peg yourself. Do you want to peg yourself at the bottom end of the range? Do you want to peg yourself in the middle of the range? That is exactly where HR typically puts anyone from the bottom to the middle level. Or do you want to put yourself at the very top end of the range? And if you want to peg yourself at the very top end of the range, you need to have good backup in terms of why somebody or yourself would want you to peg up there, right at the very top. You need to have solid backup. You need to have credentials of having been there, having done that, so that you can peg yourself at the very top of that range. Suppose, as I talked about, 40 to 50 lakhs range or a 70 to 80 lakh range. If you want to peg yourself at the very top at 80 lakh range, why should you be paid that kind of money? What gives you that right to ask for that? You need to be ready with what have you done in your career pitch so that you can demand that kind of money. Step number three is where the preparation for where you want to peg yourself and why you are asking the kind of money that you're asking for comes in. And that is where a simple SAR comes in. Situation, action, results. Prepare 3 bullet points. What was the situation? What action did you take? What results came in? Quantifying the results. Saying that I did this and therefore there was a 20% incremental revenue that I could bring to the team. I did this because of this cost saving was there, and therefore that cost saving was equal to 2% of the total profit margins. Or I did this, and therefore the entire team could be trained at a fraction of the expense that it was happening before. Or I did this, and therefore we could do things which was taking 2 months earlier in completely 2 weeks flat. Whatever you have done, you should be able to quantify and quantify beautifully. It could be cost savings, it could be time savings, it could be higher revenue, it could be a long range revenue plan which is giving time and money back to the company year after year. Whatever it is, situation, action, results, quantify, get ready. Step number four, actually not an individual step, it's actually the step number one, but worth reiterating. So I'm calling it out as a separate step, is that you are not going to look at your take home. You are going to look at your entire salary, entire compensation. What is your take home is only part of your salary. Your fixed salary, your flexible salary or variable salary basis a given metric that you need to achieve. Your ESOPs that you might be offered, the stock option that typically employees are given in big companies or global companies. Wellness budget, any budget associated with the L&D or learning associated things, any budget on insurance that you are being offered, budget which says that, okay, if you stay in the company for 5 or more years, you will be offered this and so on and so forth. All of this together is what you need to consider, not just one part which is fixed income and one part which is take home after taxes. Don't look at it very, very narrowly like that. Look at the entire range of compensations, all the components together. What is it that you are being offered by the company? That's important to look at. Fifth step and the last step in terms of foundational preparation is what I call as a feel, felt, found approach, which helps you to prepare your pitch. What are you going to say? How are you going to pitch? And there will be many levels of negotiation which will happen from the HR side before you are finally given that final offer. So there will be first level of negotiations where some amount will be put on the table for you to look at. If you're happy, take it. But if you want to negotiate further, there may be another level, there may be another person who may be getting involved in the whole negotiations. You need to be ready for that. So you need to prepare your pitch in terms of how you feel, and you should be able to talk about how you have felt about such offers before and therefore also now, and how you find yourself in these situations, which is what you are finding yourself now. Feel, felt, found approach. For example, you may say that I understand that your budget is tight. You have told me so. But you know what? I've always felt that such things are always a given. Your budget is always going to be tight. You have only such a range to play with. But you know what? I've always found myself to be driven by the company's ethics, values, as long as I've offered a fair amount as a reward. So you make your stand clear. So such a simple way of putting yourself clear in terms of, yes, you understand, but you know what? You felt that budgets are budgets, but your compensation is your compensation. And when you are offered a fair compensation, you are driven by that, and you will be offering a lot more for the value than what they are paying you for. And could be like that. It could be some other pitch also, but the pitch needs to be very, very ready and very, very applicable in that situation basis. What they are telling you, it's not a prepared pitch that you can read out. You need to prepare mentally, but you need to offer the pitch basis what you are being offered. But that is step number five, and that forms the foundational core of your preparedness and readiness to face the pitch of what they are going to offer and counter offer from your side.